Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. I am hosting tonight. My name is Ashley, and I'm here with my friends Kev and Gav to preview the Everton game that's happening this weekend. It is the early kickoff, which we don't really like around here. But yeah, it is the Everton game home at Anfield. Gav, how are you feeling ahead of this, the most momentous of occasions?
Looking forward to it. I always look forward to them. We're 4 wins from 4 in the league. I'm really I'm buzzing after last night. Some of the stuff I seen in the game last night. We've just done a show on Patreon looking at the highlights and while we're looking at the goals, we're looking at patterns and we're looking at movement and Isak coming in and Verts finding his feet more and Frimpong back and I'm absolutely buzzing for it. I don't like the half 12 thing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of half 12. Give me 3 o'clock, no problem. Just not a fan of half 12. But the only thing is, if you get this out of the way and you win, you have a lovely weekend sitting back and watching everybody play and not worrying one bit about them. You're just watching it for the sake of watching it. But it's going to be an interesting game. We'll get on to Everton in a bit, but it's going to be interesting. I've been quietly impressed by them, but I just want to watch Liverpool playing again. Not gonna lie, I genuinely like all the late goals and stuff. I'll bring it on. If you want to give me another 95th minute winner on Saturday, or around, I don't know, 20 past fucking 2 or something, whatever time it's meant to be at, I'll take it all day long because it's the absolute crack.
I mean, it's definitely addictive, Kev. I mean, fun fact, of all of the 90th plus minute winners that have been scored by all English Premier League teams across all different competitions, Liverpool have 29% of all of those last minute winners, which is actually pretty wild. Kev, are you expecting a similar result, similar last minute winner, or are you hoping for something a little bit more routine? I know that you would like that for your heart.
Kev is fucking screaming routine. I'm telling you now.
I just want simple 2-0 and calm, quiet, no drama. It won't fucking happen. It never does. But it's like it's horrible because it's the Wednesday, Saturday turnaround is really short. The fact that look, we've got 2 home games helps massively. It's not going to help us the fact that they've started the season pretty well and the fact that they've had a week to prepare for it. The flip side of that is I think they've had a week to prepare, and after watching last night and after watching the Burnley game, I don't know from David Moyes' point of view whether they stick or twist. What do they do? Atletico last night came out and had a go and were within a hair's breadth of getting a draw. Burnley parked the bus and had no intention of trying to win the game whatsoever, and were a hair's breadth of getting a draw. Everton have had a week to prepare for what they're going to do. We're playing 3 games in 6 days, and I'm intrigued to see what Arne Slot does about the squad management first and foremost. But secondly, how are we gonna gel in a derby game? Because if we treat it like it's just a normal game and it's 3 points, like we have been doing, like we did last season, fine, I'd be happy with that. If we get drawn into scrap and a derby game and you might see a red card, then anything could happen. It's a fascinating game. I'm really looking forward to it, but I ain't got a clue what Arne Slot's going to pick. I have no clue.
Well, we'll get to the lineups a little bit later. You'll Never Walk Alone 97. You're saying it's 4:30 a.m. for you. That is way earlier than for me. It's going to be 7:30 in the morning for me, and that's early enough for me on a Saturday morning. Kev talks there a little bit about how he doesn't know what to expect. Do you have an idea of maybe how Everton are going to approach this? Because we talked a little bit about how they've kind of gotten a little bit of momentum here. They lost against Leeds to start, but then they had a win against Brighton. They won against Mansfield Town. They won against Wolves. It was a close call. And then they had this draw against Villa most recently. Do you think that they're going to go into this feeling full of confidence and maybe come out a little bit? Or are you expecting Moyes to really park the bus here?
I think they'll go into thinking they've more about them than they have in previous years. Like I watched Everton on the opening day of the season. I think they might have been the Monday night game in the first weekend of the season, and I watched them and they looked like a team that were well drilled. Leeds have loads of shots, but the thing with Leeds is Leeds have carried on what they were from the first day of the season, which was huffing and puffing shots and not many on target, and they don't have a cutting edge, and that's continued for the next 3 league games. If you look, I don't think they've scored the league game. I don't think they scored a league goal since they scored that penalty. They scored a penalty in the Premier League in 4 games, so that's what Leeds' issue is going to be. I thought Everton that night grew into the game. First half they weren't great, but grew into the game, but looked like they needed someone that you're thinking a focal point up front, but Grealish is actually, he's the focal point. What they're going to do is they're going to play everything through him, and rightfully so. He's a brilliant footballer, but he's a brilliant footballer that's been hindered by Pep Guardiola for 4 or 5 years, wherever it is, where he literally has to stand on the left wing and play in triangles and not take people on and not express himself at all. He's been allowed to do that at Everton in certain dispatches. I think I've been quietly impressed with them. I think did he win away at Wolves? Is it 2 or 3-0 to win away at Wolves?
It's 3-2, so it's
3-2,
a closer game than you would think. Yeah,
it's 3-2. Okay, sorry, I thought they did a handsome win there. They beat Brighton, which fair enough was their first home game in the stadium.
Yep, that was 2-0, and that was impressive given what Brighton has done so far.
Yeah, and then the draw against Villa, I know they were disappointed by, because I know where they're coming from. I think Villa are in a bit of trouble. But for me, Everton, what way I think they'll go, I think they'll have more about them. And what I mean, I don't think they're going to come out gung-ho at Liverpool. I think what they're going to do is they're going to look to be solid. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to look to Grealish and their front man. Grealish and Dye and their front man, whether that's Beto or the young lad Barry. And they're going to say to themselves, right, the man up top has to be competitive. And if he's competitive, we need Grealish and we need Ndoye getting the ball and getting the second balls and stuff like that. But the encouragement I get from the Liverpool side is that the patterns last night of the selfless runs, as I call them, running for the sake of running, knowing you're never going to get the ball and creating space, Liverpool will need loads of that. Because let's be honest, David Moyes isn't going to go, we're playing really well here, maybe we can go out and take the game to Liverpool. He's not going to do that. And if he's thinking of doing it, he'd watch the clip of Florian Wirtz picking the ball up 15 yards from his own goal. And like I said in the show half an hour ago, and 10 seconds later, Mo Salah's hitting the post. And there was only 3 or 4 of them running up the pitch. So I think Everton are in better shape than they've been. I think they're well entrenched now in what David Moyes wants to do. But I think Grealish has been such a clever signing for them, because he does give them that spark, that bit of creativity, and that bit of presence on the pitch. Like they have McNeil who'll run up and down the left wing. They had Harrison that'll run up and down the left wing, and they'll work hard for you. But I think Grealish gives them a real top-end presence in their team, where they can say, give him the ball, he'll hold on to it, he'll create. So I don't mind them coming with a bit of confidence. I remember loads of Everton teams coming with confidence and getting their arse handed to them at Anfield and sent back across the park. So that's probably why I'm most excited about it, to be fair. They might come into this going, we've been great and we've been this. They probably haven't been great, but Grealish has been really good for them.
Yeah, Grealish reminds me a little bit of the James Rodriguez time when Ancelotti was there. I think it was the Anfield Wrap that was talking about
and
it
nobody seen him
podcasts. Play. Yeah, nobody saw him play. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those like mirages. It was right around COVID. But every once in a while, Everton seemed to find a player out of nowhere that is, I'm not going to say too good for their team, because I feel like that's discounting them tremendously. But I feel like they have someone that can elevate the whole quality of everyone around them. And I think Grealish can do that. And I think that's what you're seeing. You're seeing him really bring up the rest of the team. He's definitely going to be a wild card, Kev. The other wild card is just sort of the disciplinary results of this fixture. I think the Derby in general tends to have more red cards than any other fixture in the Premier League. And we've seen Arne Slot be victim of that. And we've also seen Arne Slot learn from his mistakes. Do you think that he is going to take anything from that red card result last year? Do you think he's going to change his approach at all? Maybe to deal with the pressure of the game around this, not necessarily tactically, but emotionally.
Emotionally, I think he'll look to the players to just do the right things, especially at home. You'd unless you really miss time or you get a really bad tackle, if you'd be really disappointed if you lost a player because they lost their head. The one thing that when you were talking about Jack Grealish will get them up the pitch, and he'll get a lot of fouls, and he'll get a lot of fouls in areas for them to have set pieces. And Beto's a handful. We saw what Mateta from Crystal Palace did with the kind of physical nature of his game. Beto's similar, and he's a handful for any centre back pairing. So if Grealish can get them up the pitch and win fouls, he might get a right back on an early yellow, and then you have a problem. When he has the freedom to be able to run at players and take players on, he can be a right handful, and then you could see, a potential red card down that route. So we'll have to be disciplined in how we manage him and manage the set pieces that he will win inevitably, because they will be direct. They're not going to be taking short free kicks or anything like that. The only thing I would say is I would be surprised if Pickford goes short from his goal kicks as well. I think if you start seeing Jordan Pickford playing out from the back, rub your hands, because that's going to be manna from heaven. If he starts going direct up to Beto, you have to win the second balls, because you back Konate and Virgil to win their fair share, but you have to keep the ball away from the likes of Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and Ndiaye, so that they don't get the feeding off the second balls. It's Gravenberch and whoever plays next to him are going to have to be alive to all of that. So I don't know. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be an interesting game. We were just talking about the game last night, and to even think about putting out a lineup right now, Gav, is tricky. But do you see do you expect there to be too many changes from Arne Slot? I think the big question probably is, does Isak play from the start or not? Does he get time off of the bench? Walk me through what you're expecting from us in terms of this lineup.
I think your goalkeeper's your goalkeeper. I think he actually sticks with Robertson. A left back. I think he'll go Frimpong at right back. I just think he will. I think Bradley's still a little bit behind Frimpong with regards to fitness and just being in the team enough. And you'll have your two centre backs. Midfield's going to be interesting because McAllister doesn't start last night. And when he came on, I don't think he was great when he came on. I think McAllister's still in kind of pre-season mode here, a little bit. I think he starts against Bournemouth in the first game. He's had a couple of games, but at the same time, he just doesn't look on the pace. Now, I don't know whether they say to themselves, look, he's got whatever amount of minutes he got there last night. Was it 30? And maybe that's him getting back up to speed. But it's an interesting decision he's going to have to make in midfield, because realistically, it's Gravenberch, it's McAllister, and it's Szoboszlai for two spots. And right now, I'd actually stick with what he done last night. I'd leave McAllister on the bench, and I'd go with Gravenberch and Szoboszlai for their running power. The only reason I'd look at McAllister is I think McAllister's better positionally when it comes to defending. And Kev's mentioned Dewsbury Hall there that I forgot to mention, and that's what Everton are going to do. They're going to look to get. They're going to use Dewsbury Hall and Ndiaye. They're going to use Grealish to get them up the pitch. Kev's spot on. Get them up the pitch. If they can create, great. If not, they can get frees. Fine. Tarkowski and Keane is probably playing. Jake O'Brien will be probably playing. They're big enough. You have your Beto up front or whoever. They're a big enough unit as well. So when it comes to Liverpool up front, I don't think Isak starts. I was very surprised to see him get 58 odd minutes there the other night. I would think Ekitike comes back in, Gakpo, Salah, and I think Isak off the bench. McAllister off the bench, possibly Bradley off the bench, Kirkes off the bench. You can see the quality of the squad there that you can bring on and off. For me, Liverpool, to stop these players getting up the pitch, you have to be all over them. And I think Liverpool have to come out like a fucking lunatic team here on Saturday. Not let this get to a 12:30. It's kind of, it's a bit standoffish, and because everyone will love that. A little bit of room and a little bit, bit more time to play the balls into the front men, and a little bit more room to get it to Grealish. And Grealish can sneak up 10, 15 yards up the pitch with the ball. I want to see Grealish having to chase that fucking Frimpong fella all over the place and go, listen, you better chase him because if you don't, he's going to do you damage. But that's where I'd go with it. I think the starting 11 the same as last night, but I think Ekitike for Isak. I think that's probably where I end up with.
Okay. Kev, do you agree? I mean, one thing about the Everton side is that they have kept 4 clean sheets in 5 competitive matches now. Do you think that we need Isak to start so we can get that little bit of extra firepower, or are you with Gav in terms of starting with Ekitike and then maybe bringing Isak off the bench? And what's your rationale for that?
Yeah, look, I just think the true test of where Alexander Isak is with his fitness is going to be tomorrow when he turns up for training, because that's his first meaningful club football in 4 months, and odds are he's going to be feeling that. And he was blowing as well. You know, he had a really good 20, 25 minutes, and then you could tell the lack of fitness. Because the one thing you could say about him, he was pressing as well. His pressing was pretty good last night. But I'd have no problem with Ekitike starting up front. The only one I ask about, or would it be worth if McAllister, Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai is your midfield 3, playing Wirtz on the left?
So you
And
rest Gakpo?
No, not rest. But the only reason I'd say is Jake O'Brien's going to be playing right back. And if you have Jake O'Brien up against a Florian Wirtz who can run either way, and he can force Jake O'Brien back into his own box, allowing the fullback to go on the outside of him, if that fullback is Kirkes or Robertson, to be fair, both of them could do it. It gives Everton something that they're probably not expecting. And I thought we saw enough last night of Florian Wirtz when he went out onto that left. He doesn't stick on the left. He doesn't stay there. He'll drift in and he'll get involved centrally. But he can take players on and go both ways as well. And you still have the option of cutting Gakpo later on if it's a case that Isak doesn't fully recover properly, that you can bring Gakpo on with 20, 30 minutes to go and change it that way. Because Florian Wirtz hasn't played 90 minutes yet.
Yeah.
And with 3 games in 6 days, I don't think he will. And I think it's really tough ask to have more or less the same 11, bar 1 or 2, going that often. We know that midweek next week, they're not going to be playing. It's the vast majority of whoever starts on Saturday ain't going to be involved against Southampton. So they're going to have a week off after this, but it's a long season. I know it's a derby, but ultimately it's 3 points. That's all that's on offer on Saturday.
Yeah. I think on the Gakpo thing, it's an interesting one if you want to put Wirtz out there. But my thing is, in games like this, I think Gakpo is invaluable as a physical presence, as an outball. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I've been impressed with Ekitike, and Isak knows how to. If either of them start up front, Isak knows how to, maneuver himself against big defenders. He's not the broadest fella in the world, but he knows how to maneuver himself. Ekitike is similar. Ekitike doesn't mind getting involved in the physical stuff, but I think down that left hand side, Gakpo is invaluable at times when you just go, you know what? It's not what things might be a bit fucking awkward, but we know we lump him down the left wing. He's big, he's strong, he pins defenders, and he gets Liverpool up the pitch, a bit like Grealish does, and maybe that's what they're thinking. I think the Wirtz thing pulling out left, I think is probably one where on 60 he might do that, and then on 75 Wirtz comes off, and you end up with an Ekitike maybe down. Ekitike maybe stays on the pitch with Isak and Gakpo goes, but
I just like the idea of having Dominic Szoboszlai in the middle of the park, that he can do that 10 role /8 role depending on how Everton's midfield play as well. If Everton play with that two sitting and Dewsbury Hall dropping in from 10 into like a deeper midfield to block up the middle, you have to go wide and you have to use your width. But then you have to have second man runners to make up the numbers with Ekitike to put balls into the box. Because it's the one thing with Burnley, what we did in the second half was we put lots of crosses in, where that option, we almost exclusively ignored it in the first half when it was there all along. We just didn't have the right players in the right position at the time to be able to do it. It's nice to have the option. That's what I mean. I think he'll go with Gakpo, but it's nice to have the option that you can legitimately change it, and it can be really effective.
It's gonna be interesting what Everton do with regards to left back, because they're playing Garner there at left back at the minute, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just looking back at the Villa game, and
Does he drift into midfield from left
no,
back?
he's actually playing left back. Mikalenko's doubtful with some sort of physical discomfort.
I'm assuming it's going to be O'Brien, Tarkowski, Keane, and Garner in the back four.
Now the thing is there. If Garner's left back, if he shapes up a left back, he won't be drifting fucking nowhere near midfield.
No.
Because he's not going to say, do you know what? I don't want to drift in here. Oh, that fella Salah's over there. No, I'll drift in here.
No big deal. No big deal.
And the problem is then you're going to have Irabunum, or you're going to have probably Guay, one of those having to
Maybe
go over and help. And I'm looking there, and you have Ndoye on the right, you've Dewsbury Hall, you've Grealish, and that's their way home. That's their way home, and we all know it. It's going to be Beto, win what you can. These three lads have to be all over. Even if some Corns is there, Garner at right back. If Garner's at right back, Jake O'Brien is going left back. If this is the way it's going to be now, unless Mikalenko recovers and comes back in, and Mikalenko doesn't play too badly against Liverpool as left back, but if he's been injured coming back into this, you think to yourself, right, okay, well, what way are we going to? Who are we going to go at here?
Isn't that where Frimpong is invaluable?
Yeah, but Sam makes the point though. Sam makes the point there, and I left it there. He said, our tactic versus Everton at Anfield last season was to constantly attack down the left-hand side with Diaz. So it's possible Wirtz does that role or rotates with Szoboszlai. Forget Everton going forward for a minute. Looking at Everton going the other way, I'm really looking forward to Ekitike against Tarkowski and Keane in particular, because I think he's a fucking dreadful defender, Keane. He's okay in the air because he's about 6 foot 4.
He's a stalwart.
But
other than
that, I don't think he turns quick enough. I don't think he's any pace. I don't think he's a good footballer. Liverpool will be looking at that Everton side, and if they see Garner, and O'Brien's being good for them, forget his Ireland performances for a minute. I think if they look at Garner and Irabunum, they're probably looking at that little triangle there of Grealish. Forget the left for a minute. I think they're looking at that triangle where they see Irabunum, you have Garner, and you have Grealish, and they're going, we're going at that, and we're going at that hard. Because it's a central midfielder at left back. It's Irabunum doesn't finish games for Everton, I don't think, because I don't think he has it in him. And Grealish doesn't. I don't think Grealish wants to be standing 25 yards from his own goal at Anfield for the whole fucking of early Saturday afternoon. That's where I think Liverpool will look at it and look to hurt them.
I suppose if you have Cody Gakpo coming in on the far post for crosses coming in from Salah and from Frimpong, and possibly even from Gravenberch from deep, having Ekitike and Gakpo as your centre forward and left forward options, but you can live with that.
There's frustration over Gakpo at the minute because they feel like he's predictable, and it is a bit of he comes inside and he looks for a ball inside, or he looks for a ball cross from on his right foot, and I can kind of see that, because for me, Everton will love it if Gakpo just keeps pummeling onto the right foot and trying to put stuff in, because the one thing Keane and Tarkowski can do is head a fucking ball. You know what I mean? They'll do it all day. So I'd like to see a bit of variation of Gakpo here, where he says, I'm going outside him a couple of times. I might get that now over, but I'm going outside, I'm going to cut a few back, and I'm going to make them turn and stuff like that. The key to this game is that you don't become predictable. If you become predictable, Everton will set up there and go, lads, let's play for 3 hours. It just is. And they will head balls all day, and we'll end up getting a bit desperate, and we start launching balls in and trying to hit wonder balls and stuff like that. If you can vary it, and you can get movement, and you're confident, and you're brave enough to move around, come out of position, try stuff. Like I said on the other show half an hour ago, be brave and get that into Wirtz's feet. Not the impossible stuff. When you see the chance, get it into his feet and let him commit. That's where Liverpool have to win this game. They won't win it sitting off Everton waiting for something to happen. Everton will be well drilled, but Liverpool need to vary what they're doing here.
Kev, Gav's talking about the element of surprise there. You were just talking about our lineups, and pretty much everyone sort of agreed that Robertson would start. Is there any argument here to bring Kirkes back in? Almost in the way that we just saw Frimpong impact the Atletico game, drawing out wide, giving Mo Salah that space to work. Could bringing in Kirkes maybe give Florian Wirtz or a Gakpo that room to work on the left-hand side, maybe altering, or is it too big of a risk given this kind of hot-headed tag that we've given Kirkes?
It'd be a massive test for him if Arne Slot decides to go with him and to trust him. His discipline will be tested, and as long as he can control that, it'll be an acid test for him. If he can control himself and be disciplined in defence, he's a great option going forward. It's the one thing I think we haven't seen enough from him yet, is him in an attacking threat. That inside attacking almost like an inverted left back, trying to attack the space between the right back and the centre back. We saw him doing it at Bournemouth. We haven't seen enough of it for Liverpool yet, but I think it's because he hasn't been asked to do it. He's been asked to be more conservative when he's attacking, giving Gakpo the space to be able to work in. But yeah, part of me wants to see him play because we paid big money for him, and you bought him for, it's not all about the next 6 months for him. It's about the next 2-3 years. And there's no time like the present to be able to throw him. You have to be able to trust these players at some time.
I think they trust them footballing wise. I just think they need to turn around and go, listen, why are you trying so hard?
Yeah.
Like, you're trying so hard to impress in different areas, like throwing tackles in, or he flies in the box the other day and he claims that he got a touch and he felt it and on his back and he went down. I was like, well, please stop. And I think the best thing, Slot does the best thing ever. And he just goes off. Not having it. Fucking off. Right? And that they need to go to him and go, listen, you just play your game. Get your tackles in, get your passes good, get running up and down, cover whatever you need to cover. You know how to play this game. You've done it for 2 years in the Premier League. This is no different. You're just playing with better players, right?
Yeah.
And you're playing in a game where you're expected to win more games. Calm fucking down. Because to be fair to him, the dive against Burnley, I think he's harshly treated against Bournemouth because I think he's targeted. Semenyo is Bournemouth's best player by a mile, and everything went through Semenyo. So when Semenyo got the ball 15 times and done something good twice, it was like, oh, he's ripping Kirkes apart. He wasn't. I was watching it. It was in front of my eyes. He wasn't. Yeah. But he was being targeted with every long diagonal or going up in the air with Semenyo.
That's what
he was okay. He done okay. They just need to go, listen, just fucking relax. Do you know what I mean?
My thing with him is stay on your feet. Stay on your feet and back yourself positionally. Don't get too tight to your winger and make them make the decisions. Ilian Ndiaye is a right-footed player playing on the right-hand side. If he's going to cut inside, he'll be predictable when he does it. So back yourself to stand off him and be able to read him. If he tries to go on the outside, just do the job. You don't have to go to ground. And as long as he stays on his feet, he'll be absolutely fine. But I can definitely see Andy Robertson getting this one, even if it's just for the hour, because I thought he was good last night. So, I mean, at the end of the day, just because Kirkes came in for a big fee, it's not his shirt yet. He hasn't done anything to earn it and be an automatic name on the team sheet. But the only way that happens is he starts putting in performances, and tomorrow or Saturday is as good a time as any for him. It's a 50-50, and I'm all right either way with it. It's the fullback on the other side I think we're going to get more joy out of in this particular game because of what he offers to the players ahead of him. I think he offers so much more to the players ahead. And the fact that his pace against someone like Jack Grealish will be a massive asset, that he doesn't have to go to ground against Grealish. He can back himself knowing that Grealish isn't going to run away from him. So I think Frimpong on that side should be a nailed-on starter as long as he recovers properly. And yeah, it's 50-50. I don't mind either way he goes. You can make legitimate arguments for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Dan J does make an argument there that Frimpong is just back from a hamstring injury and Robbo has played about 160 minutes since the break. He can't see them starting. Gav, Gav, before we get into score predictions, do you have any sort of further thoughts on these fullbacks? Because for me, these are kind of the positions that are the most difficult to predict, I guess, from slot, and that's a good thing. I want it to be difficult to predict.
Yeah, I don't think the right back's too difficult to predict. I'm not going to lie. I think Frimpong comes on. I don't know. Does Frimpong? I don't know how late he comes on against Burnley. And he doesn't finish the game last night, so he's being nursed in to a certain extent. And remember, he gets that injury in the first game of the season, and he's being worked on ever since, right through the international break. So he's being well prepared to come back. I just think it's like Kev says there. I think his pace is just invaluable to Mo Salah and those runs he's making outside. And if you find them, great, because he just keep fucking running and no one can catch him. But the fact that he makes up so much ground, he's penetrating defences by just making up so much ground in such a small amount of time that defenders are going, fuck me, where's he gone? And they're taking their eye off him. Going back the other way though, you know, if Everton are trying to go up the pitch, he's so much pace to get back, and Grealish isn't going to get into a foot race from him. He's just not. So Grealish is going to find himself probably an awful lot, like he does anyway. But he's going to try and find himself coming back in, playing balls inside, looking to kind of manipulate situations. But the problem for Everton, is if they try to be too cute in that area of the pitch and Frimpong gets a foot in, the best of luck catching him, because he can just run for forever. So I don't think the right back one is hard to predict. I think both defensively and offensively, I think Frimpong suits us down to the ground. The left back one, I'm a little bit with Kev. I do think Kerkez has been treated. The Kerkez stuff's been a bit over the top for me. You know, I'm not condoning what he done at Burnley. It was ridiculous. You know, just go by the guy and put it across the box. You know, there's no way there's enough contact there for you to go down like that. And the fact that Slot takes him off and then doesn't start him last night, I think is really telling. I think it's one where he went, listen, you're out, he played well, he's in, right? And we're going to, this rotation we're doing is actually being fast forwarded now. We're going to bring Robbo in on League Cup and a little bit beyond that, but now it's come in a bit earlier. And I think Kerkez has to take that on the chin. He just has to. But if he comes back for Saturday, I'm okay with it. I think overall he's been absolutely fine. He just needs to go on and play his game. And I'd love Virgil and, you know, Gakpo ahead of him, if McAllister or Szoboszlai, whoever's inside him, letting them know, just play your game, you know. And it's not like he's being flying forward anyway. He feels a bit like an auxiliary kind of third centre back at times. And we kind of overload that left hand side with your Gravenberch and your Gakpo and Ekitike drifting that way. But look, wherever he picks at fullback, I'm okay with. And I think Kerkez would have learned a lot in the last 4 or 5 days. I think he's learned a lot. I think Slot has learned him a lesson.
I know it's crazy to say like, oh, he's learned a lot in the last like two games, but it's been like 3 days.
It's
the
standard. It's the standards.
Yeah,
it's the standards and the
Arsenal.
It was, yeah. I mean, for me, it's the standards and expectations of playing. Yeah, you're cutting your teeth at Bournemouth, but look, you're not expected week in, week out to be virtually flawless. You know, where losing a game of football is a catastrophe. You know, and that's where we are at the minute, where we're winning games and we're on this roll and we're winning, and it feels like the slightest mistake can be punished and set you back, and you don't want to be the guy to make that mistake. That's the kind of pressure he's feeling now for the very first time. If you lose at Bournemouth, it's like, yeah, you're going to win in games, you'll lose games, you'll get praised when you're playing really well, and if you lose, it's like, well, you know, it's Bournemouth, you're okay. You're playing to finish 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th. You know, so you accept that you're going to be losing 6, 7, 8, 10 games in a league season. Yeah. Whereas when you're at Liverpool, you're like, if you lose 3 or 4 games out of 38,
that could be the title. Yeah,
exactly.
That could be the title.
And that's a serious pressure.
A few people in there are saying, I think Emmett says it there, Bradley and Robbo starts. I reckon Android X says Bradley suits this game more.
Yeah, there's quite a few that are on that board.
And listen, again, I won't knock anybody that goes into the Liverpool team. You know, I will have my preference for certain games. Frimpong would be my preference, but I can see the thing around him coming back, although I think he's further down the road than Bradley in that sense. And I know Bradley went away with internationals and he played too, but Bradley's had an awful lot of niggles, even in pre-season. My only thing on it is, if Bradley starts, see, Bradley's running power is excellent as well, you know, and he can get back. He has the pace to get up and down. My only thing that I will push on Frimpong is, and I go for Frimpong is, he fucking loves the yellow card, Bradley. And Grealish will love nothing more, and Everton will love nothing more than 15 minutes into this, Grealish steps inside him and Bradley throws a leg across him. Grealish goes down, looks at the referee and says, what's going on? And he gets a yellow, right? And then we're sitting there going, he can't go near Grealish now. Now he's loads of freedom to do what he wants. Because if he goes near him, he could end up with a second one. That's my only thing on Bradley at the minute. He loves the yellow card. And
they definitely prey on that.
The thing with Grealish isn't going to outrun you. He's just not going to outrun you.
You don't think
he's not slow, but he's not going to outrun you. And he mightn't chase back as much. And Everton might incorporate that into the fact that, listen, Dewsbury Hall has to come back and Dye has to come back. And you kind of leave your Grealish off your striker. And there'll probably still be 25 yards between them, but he'd be the nearest man to the striker. But he will love it if he gets you on a yellow card. He'll know he can have you, and he can tempt you, and if you give him room, he can hurt you. And that's the only reason I go with Frimpong. If Bradley, Van Dijk, Konate, and Kerkez comes out on Saturday morning, I go, great, let's go, let's play. I'm not gonna get that hung up on it. I'm just worried on Bradley and the yellow card stuff.
Yeah, I think one thing's for certain: both of them will play.
Yeah,
Frimpong and Bradley
they'll both
be involved. Yeah. So one will start, one will finish, and I think throughout the season, I wouldn't be surprised if that's constant.
Yeah,
as long as they're both available,
it'll possibly be the most consistent change throughout the season, I think.
Yeah, I think so, and I think he's shown that that's going to be the case as well. And the other thing is, if you want the best out of Frimpong, you want him to go for an hour with that pace, with that energy. You want him to be all action for an hour, and then just let your mate come in and finish the job, or vice versa. If you 30 minutes to go, and you want him coming on, he'll frighten the life out of people with his pace. And he's got the option he can play on the wing as well. So, yeah, I think both players will be involved. As long as he recovers properly, I think Frimpong starts.
Yeah, Hotline agrees with you in the chat. He says that regardless of who starts, he wagers that we see all four of the fullbacks at some stage. I tend to agree. I was just checking to see if there was any sort of overlap between Grealish and Frimpong at City, and there's not, unfortunately, because I was hoping that Frimpong might kind of know Grealish's tricks, but there was about 2 years in between the two of them. Okay, so sticking with the theme of our preview, Gav, let's talk a little bit about our predictions for the match. So you know the rules. That means that you have to predict the scoreline and also the goal scorers for Liverpool.
Okay. 3-1 Liverpool. I fucking love 3-1 as a scoreline, and we never win 3-1. 3-1 Liverpool. I think Vert scores. Vert, Ekitike, Isak off the bench.
Nice.
Okay.
Which means then
same.
I think we go 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. That's the way I think it's going to go.
Okay. Do you think that any of those goals will be last-minute winners?
Oh well, I pray one is. Do you know what? If you're offering me 2-1 with Isak, in the last minute, I'm 100% taking. I don't give a fuck how grumpy Kev gets. I am taking that all day fucking long.
All right. Kev, same question. Well, the sun is absolutely blinding me. I'm going to fix that, and you answer the question.
Yeah, I'd go for 2-0. I hope I'd love to get a clean sheet, first and foremost, but I'll go 2-0. It's a kind of a common score for us at home against Everton as well. I think Ekitike gets us off the mark, and I think Salah scores a penalty.
Okay.
All right, let me read off some of these from the chat. So Avo says 2-0 to the Reds, Gakpo and Verts. Davey T says 3-0, Ekitike, Konate, and Pickford own goal, which sounds awesome. I'd love that. I know, he's just buttering us up now.
Yeah.
Dan J says 2-1 Liverpool, Szoboszlai and Salah. Hotline is extremely confident. He says 4-0 Salah, Ekitike ×2, and maybe a ghost goal because there's no other fourth
Maybe
scorer
he
there.
means Salah and Ekitike by 2. Maybe.
Well, he did put Frimpong underneath it, so.
Okay, so Frimpong gets
you?
the fourth. Kev, did you specify? Sorry, I was fixing the umbrella over there.
Yeah.
Kev, did you specify? Is there going to be a, let's say, 80-plus minute winner involved in your scoreline?
No, I think it's going to be. I think we're going to absolutely boss it. I think we'll boss the ball, and we'll really limit them to chances. I mean, that's my hope. But I honestly think we'll go out to dominate the ball and frustrate them, draw them out into positions they don't want to be in, and then look to hurt them. But I think first and foremost, we'll look to control the game.
And I think Anfield will probably be up for this. I think that's a big positive in this regard. I think if we were going to the Hill Dickinson Stadium right now, it feels like they're very buoyant, but I'm hoping that our crowd kind of gets up on top of this right away.
Match makes points there, but the referee, I don't know who's repping it.
I'd prefer...
Gav, you were saying what?
I'd prefer it to be at Everton's ground.
Really?
So
oh,
said
fuck
that to Chris earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they'd have to come out and have a go, and you just go, this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that the argument for you too, Kev?
I'd rather play them when they're not settled. When they're not settled there. Okay. No, I honestly think David Moyes done a brilliant job. I think he's lost 5 games in the league since he's been back, and
he doesn't have a great record at Anfield, though.
No, he doesn't.
I don't want to tempt fate, but I think he's winless in 20 at Anfield. He's got 6 points from a possible 60.
Yeah. I know all of the things that say you want to play him at home and everything like that, but I really would love to christen that stadium early when they're not settled, and they're just not. And they'd make a big, huge deal about it being this early in the season in their new ground and what have you. It would be a big fanfare, and we just go and rip them to shreds.
Well, hopefully we rip them to shreds anyways at Anfield. I feel like that would be nice.
Yeah, Darren
and I feel like we're due. Yeah, Darren England is the referee. I'm hoping, I'm really hoping this is not a referee game.
Who the referee is.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be some sort of refereeing controversy in this game. I just hope that that's not the storyline. Yeah, I'm just going to hope that as far as good process goes, we've already got the Atletico goals to focus on. I don't want to focus on Everton goals. I want there to be some nice, clean goals from Liverpool, and I'd like it to just be something comfortable. I don't know. I'm a little bit over the 90th minute winners, as exciting as they may be.
Fun. They're fucking fantastic. They're great.
They are fantastic. I mean, I was thinking to myself today that they were reminding me a little bit of the Bayer Leverkusen team that won, and I was like, oh well, like, you know, 1 in 5 players, that were starting is basically a Bayer Leverkusen player, and it led me down a little bit of a wormhole. And out of curiosity, how many 90th minute winners do you guys think there were for Bayer Leverkusen during the entirety of that season, where they were known as the 90th minute winners or the late winners? How many? I'll give you guys both a chance to guess. I know the answer off the top of my head because I researched this earlier. Gav, you can go first.
So
how many 90th
the way you've asked that question, I'd love to say about 11, and you're going to go 2, right? And it's like they shouldn't have named them that.
I'm not going to say 2,
right?
But
I think
you give me your best guess.
Is this in the league? They play 34 league games. Yeah,
in the Bundesliga. How many late winners did Bayer Leverkusen get?
I would say 90 plus minute winners. I'm going to go with 8.
Kev, what's your best guess?
I just said I had it in my head to say 12.
Okay. So for me, Bayer Leverkusen kind of got personified as this never say die, we will always win. For context, Liverpool already have 5 80th plus minute winners. The most that Bayer Leverkusen got in that season was, Emmett got it correct because he probably Googled it, 6. 6 was the maximum that they got through the entire season, and that was their whole persona. So we are already almost there. One more game and we match their record. So I don't know, maybe Kloppo's onto something with a Rio 93rd minute winner here.
One thing I would say, it says a lot about us and our mentality, the fitness levels and everything that goes with it. But if you're an opponent and you see the injury time board go up and you know that we're battering down the door to try to get something, it must put something in the back of your mind that Liverpool will work some kind of a chance. And the way we're going at the minute is we'll take it. So I think mentally it must push sides right back onto the edge of their box and make erratic decisions like Hannibal did for Burnley. I wonder how much of us scoring late goals on a consistent basis plays on on defenders' mentality when it gets into the last 5-10 minutes of games. Because I know remember with Manchester United when they were doing it, you'd always back United. I remember Gary Neville done an interview years ago, and he always talked about the fact that when the boards went up, they'd always back themselves to create one chance. And it's up to them whether they take it or not. And in fairness, Atletico did it last night. After we went 3-2 up, Sorloth had a great chance to level it at 3-3 and really should have scored. So it's just, I back us against anyone to win. But the way we're doing it at the minute is crazy. It's just absolutely fucking bonkers crazy. It's not normal.
Crazy.
It's not normal.
No, but it is generating some momentum. I don't, Gav, I know you don't listen to a ton of other podcast media. Have you, in whatever you have listened to, noticed a change in anyone's kind of perception? Because I noticed listening today pretty much universally to everyone that was talking about, oh, well, like now we just expect it. Like everyone has shifted their mindset from, oh, Liverpool are lucky to, oh, Liverpool are now making this happen. Which for me is very interesting.
I think, look, if you look through the games, right, the Bournemouth game is a nothing game. We're 2-0 up and that's a nothing game. We actually turn it into a game ourselves. Forget Bournemouth. Semenyo's great and whatever. And they get 2 good goals, but it's down to Liverpool that they get 2 good goals. They should never be in that position. The Newcastle one is mad. They go down to 10, we're 2-0 up, and they're lumping balls at us, and, you know, a couple fall for them. And we go, but we still go and we still win the game. You know, we still go and win the game. The Arsenal game, people are going, and the Arsenal game was about 15 minutes before the end when you add in all the injury time. So, like, I don't even go in for that. That was just a really good game. 2 good sides feeling each other out early in the season. That's what it felt like to me. And Liverpool managed with a great goal to win it. The Burnley one, listen, we've 84% possession or 81% possession, something stupid like that. They don't get a touch in their box in the second half. They don't get a shot on goal in the second half. The only reason Burnley are, and you know, you have dickheads like Michael Richards going, it's really cruel, isn't it? Would you ever fuck off, right? They literally sat with 11 men behind the ball for the whole of the second half, and people are going, they were outstanding. They weren't. They weren't, because they still allowed Liverpool 29 odd shots on their goal. The only thing that stopped Liverpool from winning that game by 2 or 3 was Liverpool. It wasn't anything to do with Burnley. If Liverpool had taken one chance, if Konate scores that header in the first, well, I think it might have been 10 minutes, and he scores that header, Liverpool go and win that 3 or 4. Right? It was down to Liverpool that it ended like that. So when you look at it, people seem to be forgetting all of the game and just focusing on this little bit at the end. It's a great mentality to have, and people are saying it's not sustainable, but it doesn't need to be sustainable because Liverpool are going to get better and better. That's what's annoying people. People are going, fuck, these aren't even at the races yet, and they're winning, they're 4 from 4. What happens when it does click, and what happens when they get a bit of momentum? Liverpool, look, I love it all, but I know where people are coming from. You don't, right now it's great. In 10 games time in the league, I don't want that happening, right? You take it, but you don't want it happening because you're thinking, lads, we're 14 games in here. We should be into a rhythm. We should be knowing where everybody is now, and we shouldn't be letting ourselves get to that. That'd be more of a worry in 10 games time. Right now it's not. But look, it's a shift. Yeah, listen, come here, whatever fucking gets the clicks for the match. Like, let's be honest about it, you know. Like, whatever gets it, like, it's all about luck. It's all about luck. It can never last. That's the, you know, that's the Monday story. The Tuesday story is they're just inevitable. The Wednesday story is, oh, you know, how good I live. It's just whatever clicks. Half of them don't have a fucking opinion. They're cabbages. You know what I mean? So, you know, they
I
don't.
mean, I like the idea of them, you know, I don't know do you guys have training wheels on bicycles over there? I don't know if that's an American thing. Stabilizers. I feel like Liverpool is currently using stabilizers with their bicycle, and I feel like they're still able to ride their bike. And I feel like at some point in time, the stabilizers are going to come off, and we'll be able to just glide through.
It's like
and
when you get a car.
Happens,
it's like when you get a car and it's new and it's bigger than the previous car you have, and you're kind of going, oh, well, I get through there. And then in 6 weeks' time, you're going, like, 100, I'll fill a bus through there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get through that gap. That's exactly what
you're right.
You're right.
Used to it.
Yeah, Liverpool
you
are
just got
just
to get used
that.
to it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that we're getting wins despite the stabilizers or despite the larger girth of your car, whatever you want to call it, girth probably isn't the best use of that word there.
No.
You know what? We're fine. We're
well, no,
bigger dimensions of your car. I think might be an easier way to go there, but listen, whatever you're into.
It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, the fact that we're still getting results, I think, is great. So before we close out, I just want to touch on some of the results from today. I was told to kind of wrap it up a little bit earlier on the Everton stuff. So are there any of the Champions League results that you guys just want to touch on real quick before we sign off tonight? Because I think there are a few. Maybe Davey T can give us a little bit of insight from the Newcastle game. Gav, why don't you start?
Does it have to be Champions League?
You can do whatever you want.
Right. I just want to talk about Swansea 3, Nottingham Forest 2 then. Because it was unbelievable. And you know what? I didn't see any of it. I think Forest might have been 2 up. And then it was like, and then I lost all track of it. A bit like the Villa and Brentford when I seen Harvey Elliott scored, and I was like, I don't even know who won that game. Brentford won on penalties. I only found that out today. But Jesus Christ, the winner for Swansea, your man hits an absolute pile driver from 35 yards and nearly breaks the goalpost. And everyone's like, oh my God. And before you know it, your man's hit it on the half volley and smashed it in the net. Brilliant. I fucking loved it. Because look, we all slag Kev that he doesn't like Australia. It's actually not that. He just doesn't like Ange Postecoglou. And I'm a bit with him. Simply because of, I feel very sorry for the other guy, Espirito Santo. But yeah, look, I love that. Do you know what I did watch a bit of yesterday? Olympiacos against that crowd from Cyprus. Paphos. Sorry.
Paphos, yeah.
Really enjoyed that. They were down to 10 men for like 70 minutes of the game, and they got a 0-0 draw. I watched that and I enjoyed it. So, but no, other than that, actually, I'm going to be honest. I could not give a bollocks about the rest of them, because Liverpool will just play 8 games, probably top the group, and end up having to play
and still get PSG.
Seeds 2 and 3 twice to get through to the next round. You'll probably have to play, knowing the way this messing is going on. But yeah, no, it's good to have it back. It's really good to have it back.
Kev, just to refresh anyone that has been living under a rock, Manchester City won 2-0 to Napoli. Newcastle lost 1-2 to Barcelona. Big showing from Marcus Rashford in that game, from all accounts. You got Sporting 4-1 to Kairat. I'm going to butcher that. You can correct me, please. And then we've got Frankfurt 5-1 Galatasaray, which that surprised me. I was not expecting Frankfurt to absolutely steamroll them. Were there any of those that surprised you today or even yesterday?
Well, today's one, the first one of the early kickoffs, Club Brugge beating Monaco.
Absolutely 4-1. Steamrolling Monaco. Yeah.
Yeah. Simon Mignolet still playing for Club Brugge. I'm delighted to see a club like Bruges doing really well. It's good to see these clubs coming on. I was surprised at Frankfurt, but then when you look at the fact that Frankfurt sold really, really well over the last couple of seasons, I think it was the Europa League final they were in a couple of years ago. I mean, they're one of these sides that tend to not do fantastic in the Bundesliga, but in Europe they're a good side. Big win for City. I mean, the fact that Di Lorenzo got sent off so early probably helped them a lot. But getting that first win in the Champions League, just getting yourself 3 points on the board is massive, because you only really have to finish in the top 24, to get into the knockout phase. So you don't really need, I'd say, more than 3 wins out of 8 games. So that's what a lot of clubs' targets are going to be. Man City are not going to want to be in that playoff next year. It'll be interesting to see out of 6 out of the 6 English clubs who are playing in the Champions League, how many of them actually get into the knockout phase?
All of them.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I mean,
All of them. Genuinely.
I think I think 2 of them will go out in the playoffs.
Okay.
Which 2?
I think Spurs and Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the time
I feel like Chelsea could be a mixed bag here. I don't know what Chelsea are doing.
Well,
the reason I think is by January, February, I think that Newcastle squad is, while they're 1 to 13 is good,
they're not deep enough.
By the end of January into February, I think they need to do business. They need to do some more business in the January window.
They will.
They've got the Isak money now.
Well, do they? Do they?
I don't know. There are still some journalists that claim he is not for sale.
Yeah, he hasn't even left Newcastle.
I saw that as well.
The performance of the week.
He's a hologram.
The performance of the week is Karabakh coming from 2-0 down at Benfica to win 3-2. It was fantastic. Antico says Simon Jordan has got a real problem with us. Don't worry about it. Simon Jordan changes his mind every day of the week. It's Liverpool today. He'll love Liverpool tomorrow. He'll be okay with them on fucking Saturday. He'll hate them on Sunday and he'll love them on Monday. Again, Simon Jordan and all of them fucking cabbages. They pick up the paper or they look online and go, what is the thing of the day? I'm going to go along with that, or I'm going to make it even more dramatic, and everyone will click on and see the ads, and we'll all make money. That's how it works. Pay no attention to them. But Karabakh are the team. Karabakh Ultras.
Well, if you want to watch more of Karabakh, because honestly, I cannot find them in my North American coverage. But if you wanted to, you could check out our NordVPN.
Yes.
I'm going to try. I'm not as good as Matt, but that's my shitty segue.
The best thing about NordVPN is you can go around the world finding your streams for your different things, right? And when it comes to football, when you need to get away from the Ronnie Whelans and the Jim Beglins of this world, it's fucking invaluable because you can just find someone in Canada doing it, and it's just like
someone who actually likes football.
Just Robbie Earle or Kevin Kilban having a lovely fucking time talking about football.
I wish they were as good as you think they are. I feel like you've romanticized them. Like Robbie Earle is not as good.
TSN. Like if you're gonna watch football, watch it on TSN. The production.
I mean, outside of the tagline, 45 minutes down, 45 minutes to go. The rest is absolute garbage.
It's not garbage. It's not, and I'll tell you why. How TSN didn't get an Emmy for their coverage of the Copa America? Do you know what I mean?
Their adverts are king.
The adverts are
basically just geared to kill everyone.
Big trucks, right?
Yeah.
Tablets.
Big trucks.
Tablets that if you take them,
prescription medications
you
that
could
you
go
take
to bed
after dying from fast food.
Yeah, you could literally take these tablets and go to bed and wake up with a third foot, just to let you know. But the best of them all was where local politicians would literally spend money to have a woman advertisement on TSN slagging off all their opponents in the upcoming election, which is fucking phenomenal.
It's just normal.
It's so
normal
good.
around
I
here.
endorse this, man.
So listen,
it's a one-stop shop. You can literally you can eat your weight in fast food, and then take a pill to make it better, and then get in your big truck and drive to some sort of rally somewhere and scream at your opponent for some sort of political rally.
It's fucking brilliant.
And that's pretty much America in a nutshell.
But this is the thing.
That's it.
But NordVPN, you can just go on and plot yourself around the world and pick up all the stuff and watch it. And it's fucking way better than sitting at home going, this fucking prick is on this game again. In all seriousness, NordVPN, the link is in the description. If you want to get a VPN. They are great. And if you want to get a VPN, help us out and use that link in the description. If you want to join our Patreon is there as well. Link is in the description. Loads of people are joining there. Loads of people are liking it. Give it a go. Pay for a month if you like it. Great. If you don't. You know what I mean? We're not going to fall out with you. But yeah, there you go. I'm done. I've had enough. Karabakh Ultras.
I think you know what? I actually think it's time for us to wrap up anyways. So that's
well, it's
great
beyond
timing.
time actually, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Watching makes a great point. David Luiz was playing for Paphos.
David Luiz, that was a time warp. The thing that
Hold on, he wasn't on my stream.
He was on it.
He was at Pathos. He was absolutely there. And the only thing that kind of allowed me to make sure I wasn't in the past was his receding hairline.
Yeah.
He still he
hold on.
keeps
David
the
Luiz.
curls.
David Luiz
David
was
Luiz.
playing for Paphos yesterday.
Absolutely,
Yep.
yeah.
He was
Check it
not.
out.
He
I
was.
watched that game.
Well, you clearly missed David Luiz.
Okay, Specsavers are
maybe
calling.
because his hairline kind of made his hair
Oh my
flat.
God, he did.
Yes, he did. Yeah, no, I had to check myself. I'm like, David Luiz is still playing?
No, like
but-
he went off. He went off after 33 minutes. That's why I didn't see him. I knocked it on.
Yeah, that's an
I knocked it
excuse.
on at
That's
half
an
time.
excuse.
He's 38. No, because he did keep cutting to another centre back that come on, and it might have been the fella that come on from. Yeah, the number 2. They kept cutting to him every time the ball went out with a goal kicking on, and he was kind of high-fiving his mates and all. But gee, I'm going to watch a bit more of Paphos now.
It's
David
been the
Luiz
week
is
of
having the crack.
hairstyles this week for me. Between David
Antoine
Luiz
Griezmann.
and Antoine Griezmann's like full-on
Llorente as
80s
well.
mullet. I mean,
Llorente
Llorente,
as well.
I feel like Llorente can pull it off. Grealish, I can't, yeah. That will stick with me. Like
Griezmann or Grealish?
Griezmann, sorry,
Oh,
not
okay.
Grealish. Grealish might show up tomorrow with something ridiculous. I'm not
He
sure,
won't.
but Griezmann threw me yesterday.
Okay. Well, David Luiz playing for Paphos is fantastic. I'm going to make sure I start watching their games from the start.
He's going to do that right now. So we're going to wrap up, and I'm going to allow Gav to go and spend the rest of the evening just watching slow motion of David Luiz doing like his little
Doing Paphos
bouncy
stuff.
curls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be great.
And then straight across to
any final
TSN to watch a
thoughts?
little bit of late night. I don't know what they'll have on, Speedway or something. It'll fucking be brilliant.
They'll have something on there.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Best channel in the world.
Kev, any final thoughts before we go? Before I kind
Nothing.
of get the hook from
No.
Gav because I'm supposed to
I'm
kind
not
of
saying a
cut
word.
the show.
No.
All right,
nothing.
Gav. Any final thoughts before I get the hook from you? Because
No, you wouldn't get the hook.
otherwise I will never be allowed to host again.
Talking about serious football stuff and all, you will get the hook. But talking about David Luiz knocking around with Paphos, talking about TSN, I could do that all night, genuinely. I much prefer that than talking about football. But oh my God, I'm watching Paphos' next game. That's all I'm going to say.
There we go. We've got a plan.
Paphos live
So-
on TSN. Boy, by the way, right? You're talking about. Sorry to drag this on a little bit, but
Go ahead.
do you remember
Not
you were
my
saying
fault
like?
if
Do
we
you
go
remember?
late.
Do you remember you were saying like, oh, 45 minutes gone, 45 minutes ago, which was
45
fantastic.
minutes to go.
And you're like,
Yeah.
no other redeeming features, right? They literally, and Matt will back me up on this. America played against somebody in the Copa America, and like they were
Probably
fucking completely
lost.
obsessed with Pulisic, right?
As
And
they always are.
randomly on the screen, it just kept coming up going, Pulisic, right? For fucking no reason, right? It just kept coming up with a bar across the bottom of the screen going, Pulisic had 8 assists in the Serie A last season, the second most in the league, for fucking no reason. Like, he wasn't even on the screen, right? And then America had a player sent off. And instead of just having a red card up beside their team name, they had that, but then every like 30 seconds, a big box would fly out. And they go, red card since such and such a minute. And then it'd be like a clock going, America have had a red card. And I've played this game for 10 men for the last 29 minutes and 14 seconds. And there was a ticker going. It was like, you don't, it was so fucking good.
Trust me, America can come up with all sorts of random
Well,
entertainment.
Matt is claiming TSN because they're
Nonsense.
Canadian.
Well, I don't know where it roots out from. I'll have to do a little bit of research.
Well, he's
'cause
claiming
I
them.
want to give credit where credit is due. It might be Canada. I'm not sure. But
The best thing about it is Kevin Kilbane showed up as if he was the Don of football, right? And yeah, man is hosting. I don't know who was hosting, but the guy who used to play for Burnley, the red-headed Scottish fella, can't remember his name, but he does this thing where when he's talking, he doesn't talk to his studio guests. He stares right down the barrel of camera one while he's making every single point he's making. He's staring
are
into
you
your
talking
soul.
about Alexi Lawless?
No, not Alexi Lads. He's a Scottish guy. Can't remember
He's
his
a
name.
space cadet, that fella.
Alexi Laddis
I know
is
he is.
fantastic. I remember Alexi Laddis scoring a goal against England in 1993 in a World Cup
Yeah.
warm-up.
Yeah.
But
I remember growing up with him sort of as like the token American football player. So we didn't have Pulisic when I was little. We had Alexi Lawless, and he's just speaking of space cadets, like he's an absolute space cadet.
well, I'm just saying, I can't remember the name of the Scottish fella, but Kev Kilbane just coming on going, look, I know more than football about any use. He's just so comfortable in the skin. It's fucking fantastic. But anyway, we better go. Sorry.
Yeah, we should. We're going on a
Everyone
tangent.
should
I'm
watch
not allowed
TSN.
to do that. Everyone checking in on your random American or Canadian.
Well, it's actually
football
Canadian.
channel.
The Americans trying to take it as usual. It's not fucking yours. It's Canada's.
Okay, well, I apologize.
No
We're
problem.
not getting into a
On
political
behalf of
battle
a-
here live
on behalf of a
stream.
nation,
I'm
she's
going
apologised.
to cut out as soon as I possibly can. Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Gav. Thank you, everyone that's watching. On behalf of the Talkin Kop, we'd like to say hopefully the Reds win this weekend, and we will be back tomorrow, I believe, with some sort of show around 5 o'clock. I'm not 100% sure.
5 o'clock your time,
I think
10
there's,
o'clock
like,
our
a
time.
best-
I think it's
Sorry,
going to be.
yes,
I
10
think it's
o'clock
going.
your time.
Goals.
I think
Sort
it's
of
going to be on
best
Patreon.
goals?
I think it's goals, which will be our
Okay.
favourite goals from the Merseyside Derby at Anfield.
So, yeah, check in on the Patreon if you like that. We will be back on Saturday for a match reaction as well. That'll be free to everyone to air on YouTube. So we do try to kind of break it up between free shows and Patreon shows. But if you want that little bit extra, we will be around tomorrow. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming tonight. Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Gav. One of you guys can take us out tonight because I don't have those buttons. So you
I
guys
have
do
them.
that. And if anything goes wrong, it's not my fault.
No, it's 100% my fault,
Okay.
but I'll do it absolutely perfectly as always.
Okay.
And
All
I
right.
say that
Bye,
with
everyone.
tongue firmly in cheek. Bye bye.